Good afternoon, good evening. I just posted on my new channel and I decided to come on this channel because not too many are aware of the new channel, but welcome, Melly. And as you can see, mass shooting in Baltimore. And I'm going to get right into it, but I would like to shout out Cult Figure TV News Network, and that is where I first found this story. I did not see a news flash on any of my devices. And the sad and ironic, if you can say ironic, issue of this whole story is Baltimore is in very close proximity of me, and I'm sure many that are on here. So please make sure that you share this story because it's very important. And as I mentioned last year, the Independence Weekend is something that, for me personally, I like to stay inside because there's always something tragic that occurs. And as I mentioned on my other channel, if it's not an accident with handling of fireworks or sparklers, there's some type of senseless violence, which we have that has occurred, unfortunately, in Baltimore. The link is there for anyone who would like to express their thoughts and opinions on this horrible, horrible story that has taken place on the eve, if you will, of a holiday weekend. A holiday weekend that many celebrate or just find time to get together with friends and family. Now, according to CNN, 2 people lost their lives and 28 were wounded in a mass shooting that occurred in Baltimore. To be exact, South Baltimore, the Brooklyn, Maryland area. This was updated at 5:55 p.m. The 2 victims who lost their lives was an 18-year-old young woman, and a 20-year-old young man. And according to the CNN report, 28 others were injured in a Baltimore block party. All 30, and I repeat, all 30 of the victims had gunshot wounds. Can you imagine 30? And as even as the horrible headlines show, what's even worse, in my opinion, that 14, and I do repeat, 14 of the victims who were hurt in this crime were under the age of 18. Yes, Melly, this is extremely sad. And I repeat, authorities believe that approximately 14 of the victims hurt were under the age of 18. 9 of those injured remained in nearby hospitals in, quote, various conditions Sunday afternoon. Investigators continue to scour the large crime scene, which spans multiple blocks, and they're urging anyone with information or anyone who may have captured any video footage, including security cameras, to please come forward. According to CNN, there were at least 2 people that opened fire during the shooting. But according to authorities who are investigating this, there could have been more. Authorities have not shared information about a positive motive. All we know right now is that we have multiple shooters open fire on a large crowd of people who were out during the block party. We don't know if they were targeted or if the shootings were indiscriminately down the street. And that's according to acting police chief commissioner. The violence marks yet another instance during which a celebration turned into a tragedy, with lives lost and others permanently altered. And it's a reminder of the deadly consequences of firearms getting into the wrong hands. Brandon Scott, who is the mayor of Baltimore, stated in a news conference this afternoon, just 2 days into the month of July, this is one of 3 mass shootings and one of 338 mass shootings in the United States this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Fair use. And I'm going to try share this video. Again, this is fair use under the copyright section 107. I'll wait till this queues up. And hopefully it will not take forever. If so, I'll just leave the link for you to view at your leisure. And this comes from NBC News. Again, I'm just waiting for it to queue up. And I saw a comment, so let me check that while I wait. Again, if it takes too long, I'll just put the link in for those who are interested. And it's still waiting to connect. But let me see who's left a comment. And yes, this is taking entirely too long for me. I don't have that much patience. So, King Up. Melly got more mod than me now. I'm sorry. Here you are, King Up. Hopefully you feel better. Does that make you feel better? I don't see you often. So if I can't see you often, I can't mod you up. But again, this is a tragedy, and you can see it on my other channel, and I'm not sure why. This is hogging up. But hopefully you can hear me. Hold on. What did King Ox say? Just wait. I'll catch up with Melly. Just waiting on Hassan Campbell. You were a mod in Hassan's channel. That is funny. But in the story that I presented on my other channel, there were a lot of questions that I had. And one stated, according to the story, that it was an unpermitted event. And my question to any of those that are here or may catch the replay, if you feel as though because this was an unpermitted event, will that take away any liability in the event people will choose in the future to seek damages or legal relief because of this tragedy? And those of you that are here, your thoughts thus far on this tragedy. Keep in mind, 2 have lost their lives and 28 injured in Baltimore. And those that have been around on these YouTube streets, we've been hearing a lot about Baltimore, and we can see from this story alone, this is, for all intents and purposes, not a very safe area. Melly says that's huge because Hassan hates people from Chicago. And I'm not really sure why that is. Okay. It appears that it is showing now again. This is fair use. And you can see some of the article. And as I read briefly, this was a reckless, cowardly act that happened here and has permanently altered many lives and cost 2 people their lives. Mayor Brandon Scott said at a news conference, "I want those responsible to hear me very clearly. We will not stop until we find you, and we will find you." In the hours before the shooting, neighbors got to work grilling hot dogs and hamburgers to feed the community, always serving the children first. There were pony rides, face painting, dance competition, local rappers, and a DJ in the streets surrounding Gretna Court. So those who are in the Baltimore area, and I'm not far from there, should know this very well. And then, as you can see, the shots broke out. Yes, Johnny Blaze. The link is there if you want to hit it real quick because we know of an individual, well, several people that have been talking about Baltimore. And I've said, because I'm in the area, this is not, there's certain places in Baltimore I just would not go. And when I do go, I am not alone. I'm not going to elaborate on what I mean by that, but I am not alone because I know from being in the area and having to go in the area day and at night, especially nowadays, it's something that I would not ever advise anyone to do alone for this very reason. And again, this was in the Brooklyn neighborhood of Baltimore, Maryland. So, everyone, please make sure that you share this story and also caution those that even though many are celebrating this holiday weekend, and there will be happy memories and fond memories, there are also going to be tragic events, as this one that occurred today, again, as I mentioned, in Baltimore, Maryland, South Baltimore. And isn't it ironic, Johnny Blaze too, the Brooklyn portion of Baltimore, Maryland. And this goes to show you just have to be extremely, extremely careful. I streamed this earlier from my new channel, and I'll drop that link as well because I'll be doing different content on that. But other than Cult Figure TV, who I don't even believe is in the area, I haven't heard anyone else speak on this. So I wanted to make sure I gave him a shout out because I am truly shocked to hear the story and to hear that it's been so many people affected by this. So if you have not, absolutely. So here's my new channel. And that's not it. Let me get back over. But yes, this is in Baltimore, Maryland, everyone. And I'll get back over to see if there's more information I can share. And if anyone has any comments or would like to say anything, the link is there. You all take it when you're arguing, but absolutely, this is horrible. I mean, it is truly a tragedy. And my prayers and thoughts go out to the victims of this senseless crime, this senseless act of violence, as I mentioned, on the eve of the Independence weekend, where there are many people out grilling and enjoying time with their loved ones. Again, Cult Figure TV News is where I first heard this story. I'll be reacting to this video because he goes in a little bit further and deeper. But some of the points that he hit on is what I am going to speak about when I do my reaction on the other channel. And that is, where are community leaders? Where is Al Sharpton and Ben Crump? Questions that I feel are fair because you see them pop up on other big cases, but this is Baltimore. And Baltimore, for those of you who may not be aware, they've been hit with a lot of tragic events beginning in the early part of 2023. So that is my second channel. That I have, and that's pinned. And you can actually see more information there. And you can read the articles at your leisure. But I implore everyone this holiday weekend to please be cautious. And watch how you move out on the streets because you don't know who's watching. You do not know, as I said earlier, the mental psyche of many people and what they may be going through. And all it takes is for one thing to trigger you and end up in a situation as we see now. The goal is, everyone, to make it home safely to your family and to your friends, and not to get that dreaded phone call, especially when you're going or attending a cookout. Hey there, Money One. How are you? Happy Sunday. Haven't seen you in a bit, but thank you so much for coming over. Again, I'm not going to say numb, but almost. Oh my God, you're from Maryland as well? Money One, aka Missy B, says, prayers for my city. Absolutely. And everyone involved and residents, time to step up and get control of your children. Have to do better. Thank you. I did not know that. It is truly, truly a small, oh my God, small world. And to have to click and see someone else go live talking about something that, as I mentioned, I don't believe Cult Figure TV is even in this area. I want to say perhaps Texas, because I haven't seen anyone report on it. It doesn't mean that they haven't, but I haven't seen it. And I have mine set to where I'll see things that happen in the DMV. So, again, you're aware of it, obviously. And again, an 18-year-old young woman and a 20-year-old young man lost their lives, and at this time, 28 have been injured. But unfortunately, and I also understand that many do not want to come forward for fear. And a couple of points that cult figure, TV News, shout out to him, raised was, where are members of the clergy? Yes, the mayor spoke out, but we need more than that. Cult figure brought up another good point. Ben Crump, Al Sharpton. But as I mentioned, according to one of the stories that I read, and this could be very important moving forward. And the link is there if anyone wants to say anything. If not, your comments are just as well fine with me. That this event was not permitted, meaning they did not have a permit to have it, and that the police were short-handed. But another piece of the story that I read, some of those at the event said in the past, the police did have a presence. So I don't know if there's any correlation to that. And Money One, aka Missy B, says the family TV and Tony 2X talked about it. Okay, I was not aware of that. So thank you for letting me know. Again, I had absolutely no idea until I came across cult figure. And again, I want to say or use the words mortified, which I absolutely am. And they also mentioned that, well, you know how talking heads are, but the permanent altering. But my question is, how long is it going to continue? I mean, Baltimore has many issues, just as many cities. DC at one time, murder capital. They've cleaned it up. But if I have to be honest, I will say by way of gentrification. Now, there may be some that will argue or disagree. However, I'm a native Marylander slash Washingtonian, and I can speak on it because I know what I've seen. I've seen dilapidated buildings and residences slated for the impoverished torn down, where they were compelled to leave or given a small sum of money, which may seem like a lot to some, to leave, where flats could be built in the upwards of $3,000, maybe just for rent. For those that may attend George Mason, George Washington, American University, perhaps Georgetown, who knows? But the point of the matter is, I think there should be more done to prevent these types of crimes. And again, with the mayor being young and very passionate, seems like to me he should have a lot of resources. I would think, and this is just me thinking and speaking out loud, at his fingertips. And I wonder if anyone from the current administration has spoken or will speak on this, or perhaps travel to Brooklyn, Maryland. Melly says, in my opinion, politicians won't act unless it impacts their own family members. And unfortunately, that is what many, I believe, would also agree with. And as I mentioned earlier, the very, if it can't get any more upsetting, disturbing part is that they're saying maybe 14 people injured under the age of 18. Money One, aka Missy B, says we need to stop trying to be our kids' friends. Let the village help them. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. We need to stop trying to be our kids' friends and let the village help them instead of fighting the village. And Melly is saying politicians, and that is Money One, aka Missy B. And I'll try to share this once more. It's starting to rain here again because I am close to the router, but it acts as if it doesn't want to respond. So we will try to bring up the video again. This is fair use, the copyright section 107.
And pronounced deceased. Our hearts and prayers continue to go out to the families, friends, this community, and our city as a whole. Our officers continue to scour the very large crime scene. We have assistance from our federal, state, and local partners. We've been on the phone with them all day. They've been providing resources, anything that they could get us to help. I ask anyone with information, please call 911 or Metro Crime Stoppers at 866-7-LOCK-UP. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mayor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. I want to thank BPD. I want to thank Monty, all of our city agencies, our Senate President, our Councilwoman, our Council President, our federal and state partners who have been here with us. I want to reiterate what I said this morning.
Okay, and who here speaking right now is the Mayor, Brandon Scott.
That this was a reckless, cowardly act of violence that has taken 2 lives and altered many, many more. And as I said earlier, we will find those who are responsible, and we will not stop until we do so. Again.
Now, my question is, and I don't mean to continue to stop through here, but those are very strong words, and I have no doubt in his sincerity, but it is now 7:00 p.m., and I haven't seen any breaking news headlines that anyone has been apprehended as of yet. Now, if that's changed, and if I'm wrong, I will state that, but again, this last update was 5:55, I believe. So let's continue.
Again, this tragic incident is another glaring, unfortunate example of the deep issues of violence in Baltimore and Maryland in this country, and particularly gun violence and the access to illegal guns.
Now, Melly says television, music, and social media are hurting our kids tremendously. Absolutely. But the mayor just said something also that's very poignant. Illegal guns. Well, why is that continuing to happen? We also know, in my opinion, well, I'll leave that alone for now.
This year alone, the Baltimore Police Department has seized 1,345 illegal guns.
1,345 illegal guns have been seized in Baltimore. Wow.
That were in the hands of people that should not have them.
Okay, and he continues to say that we're in the hands of people that should not have them. So, is there a systematic measure or measures in place to curtail this from happening again? And mind you, we are just in the dog days of summer. July 4th is not even here yet.
Had them anyway because they're so easy for them to obtain. We will continue to hold those individuals who carry those weapons, who use those weapons in acts of violence like this one that we saw today, accountable. But we need accountability at every level, from those who are selling and trafficking those weapons into Baltimore from places outside of our state, to companies who manufacture guns in a way that skirt gun laws in our country. And we also need community responsibility as well. We have to be better for us as Baltimore. We need to say when we know people, especially young people, are carrying these weapons because.
Okay, again, that was from CBS News. Again, for use. And my question, again, to those that are here or who may catch the replay, how are you going to change this? This isn't the first time. This isn't the first city. And it's damn sure not going to be the first time. Next time, it may be your city. And again, I'm appalled that I have not heard anything about this. And I do not want to change or imply anything, but other stories I get almost automatically. However, this I did not. And it could be because there are other things going on, but usually the buzzwords mass shooting should be enough to be deemed as breaking news and trending, not in a positive way, because there is nothing positive or trendy about this. It is unfortunate, it's upsetting, and it needs to stop. But every time, in my opinion, we hear such a story, we'll hear some strong speeches, until the next tragic event happens. And Melly says, every activist or politician uses the same talking point about doing better to no success. I absolutely agree with that. And you have to keep in mind, there is a whole entire paradigm that is shifted as far as mental health is concerned, because you do have to keep in your thoughts as well those first responders. And the line in the story that approximately 14 of those injured, and there were 28 according to the story injured, 14 under the age of 18, that were witnesses to this tragedy and possibly could have been witnesses to those who lost their lives. there's going to be a need, in my opinion, for therapy, not only for the first responders, and in my opinion and my experiences, you can have therapy, but certain things will be etched in your memory bank forever. You may find a way indeed to cope, but total deletion of sights, sounds, and smells. Your sense of smell, I'm not sure, and I'm not going to get too deep in that because I could go for hours when I start. But your sense of smell is so keen. Anything that burns, perhaps other bodily fluids, I'll just leave it like that. Certain things, they stay with you. And again, you're dealing with young people, people who may have been looking outside from their windows. We don't know. They could have been a lot younger. We have to think about how they may be affected or affected along the way. And Money One, aka Missy B, says, Brandon will get him. He loves his city. That's awesome. He still lives in, oh, okay, which is the so called ghetto. So this type of behavior was forbidden when I grew up there. Women and children were off limits. They should always be off limits. And prayerfully, that can be done. But some of the parts of the stories that I read, unfortunately, there are people who are afraid to speak up. And I know in a lot of cases, people say silence is golden, but not in this incident. I believe you can remain anonymous. And there's always someone who sees something. Someone always, in my opinion, has a cell phone glued to their hands at all times. Even in some of the most worst areas, not just in Baltimore, but anywhere. Somebody has security cameras. There are a lot of security cameras in Baltimore. So my hope and prayer is that someone or something was captured. And keep in mind, a lot of these perpetrators may not even be from these areas. And I've been to Brooklyn several times late. And the area I went to may have been a little bit sketchy, but I didn't feel any fear. I mean, I usually don't anyway. There are times in certain places that I go, my gut will tell me I should return at another time. But for the most part, no, I don't. So it's ongoing. We don't know if this was targeted. But my concern, as I mentioned, where it was stated the event was unpermitted. And when I say unpermitted, there was not a permit. So the police, and this is just from the story, wasn't aware of the event and they were short-handed. So those are mental notes I'm going to keep As I mentioned on my other channel, which is pinned, please make sure you all follow that because the content there will be slightly different. I will still not be disrespecting anyone. However, I won't be biting my tongue as much either. And I'll be making reactions and dropping the link more to have discussions with those who would like to have discussions. I just ask that you remain respectful. Again, I don't expect anyone to agree with everything that I say at all. And Money One, aka Missy B, says, sure, that's how they got caught my nephew. Watched him from the east to west on camera. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry to hear that. Money One, aka Missy B. My condolences. This is why, there are a lot of people, and this is not a slight to anyone. You keep hearing, pull up, pull up, pull up. Well, someone pulled up in Baltimore, and look at the result. Yes, fight back the way you need to fight back, but also take time out to make sure that you're thinking rationally and logically, because you don't know what people are thinking, and you do not want to ever get caught in the crosshairs because you're on a mission and then someone else is on a mission that you know nothing about, and then you get caught up in something like this and not make it back to your families. And that goes for any and everyone. Yes, Money One, aka Missy B, I would have never known. And see, that's another thing. We don't know what people have experienced. And stories like this could trigger them. So, shout out to those who are truly, truly victims and who are truly, truly triggered by stories such as these. Because, in my opinion, this did not have to happen. This should not have happened. Independence Day. Again, no slight to those who celebrate. Some may just use this long holiday. Well, it's long for some people, definitely not for me, as a way to rest, relax, and enjoy their families, friends, and loved ones. Some do get together just in the neighborhood, but recklessness, evil, demonic spirits can ruin that just as quickly as it begins, as you can see with this story here. So that is all that I have on this story. And I actually have a headache now because I can't even imagine the horror of it all. And that's for everyone affected. I can't even imagine the paranoia that some may have to live with for a long period of time, perhaps the rest of their lives. And that is what a lot of people, in my opinion, don't think about. And we collectively have to learn how to conceptualize. We can't just think about being in the moment. That's okay for certain situations, but for tragedies such as this, no, you have to think about the long term. What if this type of incident will give birth to anxiety or panic attacks? These are things we need to start thinking about, in my opinion. So, with that, those that came in, thank you so much. I'm sorry this isn't glamorous and pretty as the beefing backwards and forth, whether it's authentic beef or manufactured beef, but this is real life. And unfortunately, 2 real lives were taken, actually stolen is the proper word, as a result of a mass shooting that's affected at present 30 people. Those numbers could possibly rise. We don't know. And those injuries that haven't been reported, we have to think about the residual effects they, too, will have to live with for the rest of their lives. See, when you injure one person, even though they may say 1 injured, that's not accurate, because the person that receives the injury has a loved one, who has a loved one, who has a loved one. So you have to add to the number or numbers originally reported and keep all of those affected directly and indirectly in your thoughts and prayers. Again, my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the victims of this mass shooting in South Baltimore, Brooklyn, Maryland, today, the 2nd day of July, 2023. Again, we are halfway through 2023. On the eve, well, I'm a little bit early, but on the eve of the Independence Day holiday. So I'm going to end this now. Everyone, please be safe, be well, and be healthier. Healthier in your physical, but more importantly, your mental. Until next time, bye-bye for now.